Yeah, Staten Island just told Mamdani he could go F himself. Staten Island, out of the 5 boroughs of New York City, you have Manhattan, you have Brooklyn, you have the Bronx, you have Queens, and you have Staten Island. Staten Island is basically the only one that's considered conservative, Republican. The rest of them are clearly Democrat liberals that went out and voted for the Democrat socialist Mamdani to win the mayoral election, which is right, obviously. But Staten Island, now that Mamdani has won, Staten Island's like, bro, listen, we're going to basically secede. They want to pull out of New York City altogether and be their own little thing.
I think the first order of business will frankly be the Rent Guidelines Board and freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. That is something that happens on an annual basis here in New York City. The other two, as you referred to, is making buses fast and free and delivering universal childcare.
Yes, before we proceed with this video, this is what Trump sent out. Communist Mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, has asked for a meeting. We have agreed that this meeting will take place at the Oval Office on Friday, November 21st. Further details to follow. If you are not familiar with what is going on, let me first play this video so you can see exactly what is currently trending on social media.
Yeah, Staten Island just told Mamdani he could go F himself. Staten Island, out of the 5 boroughs of New York City, you have Manhattan, you have Brooklyn, you have the Bronx, you have Queens, and you have Staten Island. Staten Island is basically the only one that's considered conservative, Republican. The rest of them are clearly Democrat liberals that went out and voted for the Democrat socialist Mamdani to win the mayoral election, which is right, obviously. But Staten Island, now that Mamdani has won, Staten Island's like, bro, listen, we're going to basically secede. They want to pull out of New York City altogether and be their own little thing. And it's a genius move. It tells everybody exactly how they feel politically, right? But it also shows that the people in charge in Staten Island care about the people of Staten Island, because when Mamdani is able to take office on January 1st, and if he's able to convince, Governor Hochul, whatever the crap Kathy's name is, to embark upon this, destroy New York City theme that he ran his entire campaign on, basically taxing the shit out of the rich, and then, in essence, forcing the rich to leave so that now the middle class will then get taxed so that they can then pay for the poor. But then the middle class is like, F this, and then they leave, and all you have left is the poor. Anyway, Staten Island's like, listen, we don't want our people leaving. We want the people to stay here, whether they're making $1 billion a year or $500 a year. We want them to be able to stay here in their homes where they've lived, where they love, and not have to worry about this socialist Muslim batshit dude coming through and destroying everything they've worked for just to give it away to people who don't deserve it, right? At the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. So Staten Island's like, listen, we're going to find a way to pull out of New York City. Fingers crossed that it works for them. Normally, I'm not part of the whole, we should secede from things like when Texas wanted to secede, which is a hard word, from the United States. California talked about it for a while. Florida probably floated the idea for a second. It doesn't really give you the warm and fuzzies for your country when people are like, deuces, bro, right? But it does give me warm and fuzzies when Staten Islanders are like, we're not going to sit by and let this man ruin our lives. I love that. What's also crazy, after Mamdani won, and we talked about it, his whole entire campaign was about how everything was going to be free. Free groceries, free bus rides, free childcare, free housing, free whatever for everybody, because he was going to take it all from the rich to give it to everybody else. The very first thing he did after he won the election was the next morning he took to social media to ask the exact same people who voted for him based off his promises that they would get free stuff to give him money so that he could go out and get a staff. Well, broski, if they had all the money to begin with.
Yes, before we proceed with this video, I tried to fact check to see what this lady said. When you take a look at this, Staten Island politicians have renewed secession effort post Mamdani's mayoral victory, citing clashes with his socialist policies like taxing millionaires. Mamdani's plan focused on citywide hikes for high earners to fund program not targeting Staten Island exclusively. The broader consecutive affluent profile could mean disproportionate effect, but the claim of being the one he taxes lack direct evidence. It is more political rhetoric amid broader tax debate. Yesterday, Mamdani had an interview, and what he said actually drew a lot of attention on social media. Trump actually put out a tweet like this guy seek to visit the White House. I think the meeting would take place in few hours.
Zohran Mamdani, nice to have you here, Mr. Mayor-elect.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Is the White House meeting real? Who knows what's real these days, but do you understand it as a real thing?
We did reach out to the White House, and my team reached out because of a commitment that I made to New Yorkers, that I would be willing to meet with anyone and everyone so long as it was to the benefit of the 8.5 million people who call the city home and their struggle to afford the most expensive city in the United States of America.
Do you think a lot of people go into meetings with Donald Trump, I think, thinking they're going to be the one to get over on him? And I sometimes often think, I've watched this now for 10 years, they screw up because they think they underestimate him. Like, what is your goal for a meeting with Donald Trump? What do you want to come out of a meeting with Donald Trump?
I want to just speak plainly to the president about what it means to actually stand up for New Yorkers and the way in which New Yorkers are struggling to afford this city. And frankly, cost of living is something that I heard time and time again from New Yorkers about why they voted for Donald Trump. And this is something that is only continued in the last few months of this year, where we're hearing about childcare concerns, rent concerns, Con Ed concerns, even just getting on the bus just $2.90. And just to make it clear to the president that this is what we're talking about, these are the stakes for New Yorkers and their ability to keep calling this city their home.
This is how the media operate. When you look at what this journalist is struggling to do here is to instigate this guy to go and misbehave in the White House in the name of acting strong. This is what this man is struggling to do here. I've been watching now for 10 years. People will underestimate him. When they go there, they realize they turn around, they are unable to speak up. That should not be how you're supposed to tackle questions. If you are interviewing someone, this should not be the way you're supposed to do it. He has his plan. I understand he disagrees with Trump, but having that mind to meet him in person is a good idea. Now, taking a look at this, Zohran Mamdani said today on PS News that his first order of business will be freezing rain on rent-stabilized apartment. The next two priorities will be making buses fast and free and universal child care. The Rent Guideline Board is comprised of 9 mayor-appointed representatives of tenant, landlord, and the public. Of the 9-member board, 2 members have term expiring during Mamdani's first term, whom he can replace. The mayor can replace the chairman at any point. The other 6 members' terms have already expired, meaning they can be replaced at any time. There is actually a growing concern with a lot of people. He has been singing free stuff, free stuff, free stuff. That is his campaign, what he ran on. And people see this as unrealistic. He will be unable to do this based on many facts, which I don't want to repeat because I've done this kind of videos over and over. I'm just reporting so you can see his response after, seeking to meet with Trump.
So when people say democratic socialist, right? And I'm curious what you think this means. I mean, do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And I think ultimately the definition for me of why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's what I'm focused on, is dignity and taking on income inequality. And for too long, politicians have pretended that we're spectators to that crisis of affordability. We're actually actors, and we have the choice to exacerbate it, like Mayor Adams has done, or to respond to it and resolve it, like I'm planning to do. Open to working with anyone, no matter what disagreements you may have. And I've said this when it pertains to President Trump, that if President Trump wants to speak about lowering the cost of living or delivering...
I want to appreciate people supporting me, sharing all my videos. God bless you abundantly. As of the short clips, that is for the YT algorithm. They hardly recommend videos on this channel.
19. And by extension,
it voted over.
That was my first instant.
to have more Republicans on the show, but they don't want to come on. They're scared of us.
It's like history.
Point when I say I'm not going to be apocalyptic. He even gets an off.
If the Democrats
Because how many times do somebody asks
for
JD Vance should be the next president of the United States. If you want to serve in the American
give interviews, I don't do that.
JD Vance
At the moment.
Yeah. President Obama.
Is blatant censorship.
because he says he has a team of fact checkers.
The FCC.
Want them to stop fooling around with my right to say what I feel.
Americans, it's a part of who we are.
Because that is really something that didn't happen before.
Does anybody else watch The View? Because I think there's...
I'm going to say one.
Look, there are certain rules of free speech that we must all abide by. But in case anyone needs a refresher,
all the same people that are in these polite...
Disagree with what Gavin Newsom said that he doesn't.
Dave Chappelle.
Without of interest.
I mentioned last night Trump was bragging about how many were surprised to see Darth Renner.
Between now,
60 minutes for editing an interview.
In a generation. And that's a pretty bold statement. His campaign promises were wild.
So, former First Lady Michelle.
It's for you.
Did Mamdani say in his acceptance speech in New York? He said there is...
Mamdani! Dios me libre! Oh my God! This is comunista!
These people are easily convinced.
I think the Democrats are still a mess.
And frankly, he could do a master class for all Democrats.
Do with the midterm.
Taught us.
I was expecting Democrats to win. Supported by the Democrats, they run California, read it, Virginia.